Hello guys, we are back together again. This is our last video on a theory. We will have covered all 6 theories after this week, and I have uploaded a lot of videos that are small and explain this in a good way. I've watched them myself. I watched 3 of them today. One, the 10-minute one, I'd really like you to watch, by Simon Sinek, I think his name is. And then there's 2 short little ones that I would like you to watch. So please look at all the videos in this module. This theory is called the diffusion of innovations. To be honest, I was like, oh my God, what is this? It sounds so complicated or ambiguous. Wow. The more I took a deep dive into this theory and how it would relate to health choices and health behavior, fascinating. I've been really amazed how each of the theories we've looked at have been very applicable to health behavior and changing health actions. I wanted to just go over some basics with you on this. Basically, the diffusion of innovations is an explanation of how new ideas spread. So we're not as much talking about the behavior as we are much talking about people grasping the actual idea. So when you think of ideas that have spread and have changed and created a paradigm shift in our culture, whether it was obvious things like going from landlines to cell phones, okay, that change does not take place overnight, okay? That change, that shift occurs slowly, but the diffusion of innovations explains exactly how that change takes place, okay? Many people have written about the problem, about how to get people to change an action or to change a way they do something, okay? Why and how people adopt new ideas, practices, or tools. There are many different models that explain this, and all of them are right to a degree, this article says, and that's okay. And all models end up being wrong, but some are useful. And I know that seems kind of contradictory, but I guess it's saying that none of them are perfect in the way that they predict behavior, but they're all useful when we look at being agents of change and getting people to predict or to change their behavior. So, we want to talk about a specific model that helps people adopt new ideas. And even if you haven't heard of this model, you may have heard of the phrase of somebody being an early adopter, okay? Maybe or maybe not. Everett Rogers is the one who came up with the theory of diffusion of innovations, okay? And diffusion is the process to which an innovation is communicated through certain channels over time, making it become a part of a system. So, let's say you're the inventor of the cell phone, and you want to bring this revolutionary idea out into the marketplace and have it be adopted and have it take root and revolutionize the way we do things. Well, did that happen? Yes. But did it happen overnight? No. So in the beginning, there was just a few people that grasped onto that idea. I remember, I'm old enough that I remember when cell phones were something only really, really rich people or like corporate CEO people had in their car. And it was large. It was like in a really cool executive looking box with maybe a wood grain. And the phone was big, but it was a cell phone. You could use it in your car, but it was large and it went back on the receiver, similar to a landline, but it was something that was in your car. Very few people had these, okay? And then eventually more and more people grasped onto it, and then the market got cheaper, and then the way they marketed it and it caught on, the idea, the convenience, the cheapness of it caught on, and now we all use cell phones. I remember I had a friend in the year 1998 who owned a payphone company. And he told me something I'll never forget. He said, Kathy, someday long distance will be free and everyone will have a phone and nobody will use payphones. And so I'm getting out of the business. And I remember thinking that was crazy, because I also remember a big part of my life, especially my first 10, 15 years of being married, we didn't have a lot of money, and long distance cost a lot of money. So to call home, I had to budget for that, because if I talked too long, that could be $20 on my phone bill because it was a long distance. I remember sometimes hiding my phone bill because I'm the one who paid the bills, and I didn't want my husband to know I'd stayed up late talking to my friend that lived in another state, because it cost a lot of money. And who would have thought that we have computers in our pockets and we don't even think about long distance? Long distance isn't a thing. And to not have a cell phone seems strange. I don't think I know anyone without a cell phone. So how did that idea take place, and how did it get adopted? So I want to go over just quickly this chart that you're going to see in the videos. So they're going to explain it so much better than me, but I just want to show you. In the beginning, when an idea occurs, okay, approximately 2.5% of the population grasps it or gets, initially takes it on. These are who you call the innovators. So those are the ones that first discover this invention or idea, and they're the ones that first grab onto it. Now, those people are really not the ones that make it spread, because they are the outliers. They are kind of the weirdos, for lack of a better word. They are the people that, have you heard of those people that have cell phones in their car? Or have you heard of those people that do this thing called Bitcoin? They buy this cryptocurrency and it's not even real money. Can you imagine 10 years ago, the idea about cryptocurrency was just maybe a few nerdy people in their mom's basement trading online this currency that's not really money. What is it, right? And it didn't take root yet. Okay, it was a very small amount of people doing this thing or having this idea that no one else had. Then the next category is your early adopters. Now, your early adopters is anywhere from 12 to 13.5% of the population as a whole. This is the next step. Usually what occurs here is those few people in the first category somehow gain the attention of somebody that maybe has some clout or some credibility or some, what's the word I want? They're famous. Do you know what I'm saying? So they're famous. So because they do it, other people want to. So they have a, I don't know. I'm thinking of the idea of Joe Rogan. Okay? Everybody knows who Joe Rogan is, whether you like him or not. He's the #1 podcaster in the country. And he has been entertaining the idea that psychedelics are good for mental health. And he's been debating about that on his show. All of a sudden, more people are willing to look at this. Even doctors and medical people are beginning to look at the idea that psychedelics are not just for hippies. Now, originally, you could have put the use of psychedelics in that 2.5% category. And we had an idea of the kind of people that use psychedelics. It's like, oh, those are hippies tripping on acid and they're just wasting their life or whatever. We don't agree. We're not interested. We just think, okay, that's those little people over there, that little group of people over there. But then someone like Joe Rogan says, you know what, let's look at MDMA. Let's look at all these things that have to do with mental health. Let's look at these things instead of prescription drugs. And he has people in his program. And because he has clout, because he has credibility, because he has a name, a brand, that's what I'm looking for. Because he has a brand, he is all of a sudden brings it to 14% of the population. And all of a sudden it gets the attention of medical doctors. And then this idea begins to take root. Now, right now, we're still in that little bit of idea. The early majority, which is the next category, hasn't adopted psychedelics yet, okay? And it may take a while. But maybe 10 years down the road, if you have depression, you might be getting a prescription for psilocybin mushrooms instead of Xanax or Wellbutrin. You never know, because of the way that that idea may or may not take off. But when it comes to cell phones, those early adopters might have been those first few people that thought, yeah, this is cool, I want to do this, right? And then all of a sudden, the early majority gets involved. That's 34%. And the late majority gets involved. And then you have the laggards. The laggards are the end group. And these are the ones that really struggle with the idea. And to this day, may or may not. These might be your grandparents that still have a flip phone because they're not going to have that smartphone because, you know, those radio waves aren't good for you. They might have their reasons, but they're afraid, they're not risk takers, they're not necessarily on board. Does that make sense? So that's what this theory is about, and the videos will flesh it out even more. I know I've sounded confusing. I'm getting over a head cold. My brain is fuzzy, and I'm trying to stay focused, and my granddaughter just came. But thank you for sticking with me. We're making it through. I guess in relation to your health campaigns, I guess what I would like to say is that when you think about your target audience, how would you want to convince them that they should adopt your idea of your health campaign? How is it you want to frame the idea to best make sure that they agree and grasp and get on board with you? So that's a use of this, and we'll have a quiz late next week, being I was late in updating this video. Okay, thank you so much for being patient with me, and I hope you're doing well, and we're rounding the corner to almost being done. So bless you guys. Thanks. Bye-bye.